We've played through quite a few Pokemon games how Nintendo intended, following the official strategy guides as closely as possible in order to see how effective they are when playing through the game. We've had some mixed results to say the least, since some of the guides have some weird mistakes or tell us to do things that I've never seen done before in a Pokemon game. Today, we're going to play Pokemon Ruby version, but instead of following a strategy guide, we're going to try and beat it how I intend it to be played. We did this a few months ago with Pokemon Fire Red, and we're going to go through some things that I like to do when playing through Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, as well as some of the things that I did as a kid when I first played through Ruby. I have some pretty fond memories of playing Ruby version for the first time when I was a kid, before I unfortunately lost it with my cool blue Game Boy Advance SP. While it wasn't the first Pokemon game I played, I was a bit older when I played Ruby compared to when I first played Red or Silver, so I remember much more about Ruby than the other two older games. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe since it helps a ton. Look at this analytics chart and let's hammer away at Pokemon Ruby version to beat it my way. Starting off, I name our character C, set the clock, and make it to the starter selection window. I picked Torchic since that's the first starter Pokemon I picked when I played Ruby, and I also picked it first when I first played Emerald version and Omega Ruby now that I think about it. I give it the basic name of Colonel, and then Birch asks us to meet his daughter, but I just say no. He keeps asking and I still keep saying no, but we're forced into saying yes to progress in the game. And on the way to meet May, I level up Colonel to level 6 to help a bit against the first rival fight. After defeating May, getting the Pokedex and some Pokeballs, I go to Route 102 and catch a Route, which I named Pistachio. As a kid, I always thought the entire routes line was really cool and strong since Wally had one on his team when you battle him in the Victory Road. Although I wanted to catch a C-Dot and just got lucky with routes being our first encounter, which is one of the rarest encounters on the route. I did wait a while so we can catch a C-Dot too, since unfortunately Lotad isn't in Ruby version, so I named it Sakura. I checked the moves of our newly caught team members and neither of them have any real attacking moves, so we have to do some switch training. I think it'll be worth it though because Gardevoir is really strong and Shiftry can be really good as well. I pick up the berries on this route of course because berries are great, teach Wally how to catch his own routes, and then go through the Petalburg Woods and make it to the other side. I pick up Bullet Seed from the Seed Boy since C-Dot can learn it and C-Dot doesn't learn any other good moves via level up for a little while, and I know it'll help for Roxanne's Rock-type gym. I didn't catch anything in Petalburg Woods or around Rustboro City since my intended way to play this game is to only catch Pokemon that I think are really cool. I was considering catching a Nincada to evolve into Shedinja because when I first heard about that as a kid, I thought it was one of those weird Pokemon hoaxes, and then when I tried it and it turned out to be real, I was kind of mind blown. I did grind the team a bit against the nearby trainers for Roxanne's gym, which Sakura was able to handle pretty well after evolving into Nuzleaf. I then saved Pico from the Team Magma Grunt and set sail to Dewford with Mr. Briny. I deliver the goods to Steven right away so he can go back and get the EXP share in Rustboro City to give it to Routes, and then I grind up the team a bit against the gym trainers and some of the trainers in Slateport City. I also realized that we could deliver the letter to Captain Stern right now and take on Team Magma in the museum and then go up north to Mauville without battling Brawly, so I do that. I'm not really sure how long we can go without battling Brawly since our team does match up pretty nicely against our next rival fight and we do end up battling our rival to get the win. And then once I make it into Mauville, I get the Acro Bike, the superior bike because you can do wheelies and hop, which is pretty cool. I then battle this trainer who just glitches and walks through this ledge if you didn't know in Ruby and Sapphire version, and then have an honor battle against Wally in front of the gym with his routes against our routes. Our route is a higher level and gets a critical hit off Confusion, so we win that honor battle. And now we could technically battle Watson without ever battling Brawly. I looked it up and defeating Brawly only lets us use Flash outside of battle, which we can avoid for pretty much the entire game until we have to go to Elite Four. So I'm gonna try to see if we can battle Brawly as the 8th gym, which I think would be kind of funny. I battle some of the nearby trainers, Pistachio evolves into Kirlia, and I also got a Gulpin that I named Stomach, which I forgot to mention until now for some reason. If you don't know, Gulpin and Swalot of course are one of my favorite Pokemon, so of course when I play through Ruby version I intend to use one of my favorites. I then take on Watson and things go well until Colonel gets paralyzed and falls. I end up losing the battle, granted I was a little bit reckless, which of course isn't intended for my playthrough, but I only did did it to show you guys what to not do while battling Watson. To be fair, I tend to lose against Watson a lot for some reason, whether I play Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald, but we do get through him on the second try, giving us the third gym badge, although it's only our second gym badge. We then have to wrap all the way around towards Fall Harbor, one of my least favorite parts of this game because it just takes a while. Pick up secret power on the way so we can make a secret base if we wanted to. Catch a Zangoose, which I named Shadow because it kind of reminds me of Shadow the Hedgehog. And if you guys don't remember that game Shadow the Hedgehog on the GameCube, I just think that's one of the craziest games to ever exist because it's a Sonic game where they give a Sonic character a gun. And then I make this random secret base on the same route. I used to mess around with secret bases a lot as a kid and had some favorite locations throughout the Hoenn region, but I don't really remember most of them, except for one spot that I used to use by like the Cycling Road area, which we'll get to later after we get Surf. But our next task now is to go up Mount Chimney to fight Maxie. I wrote down Maxie in the script. I think his name's actually Archie though. I think I might have messed that up while scripting. I always mix up Archie's and Maxie's name for some reason. The way I usually remember it is it's Archie's Ace in the Hole is the TCG card, which people play with a Blastoise, and Blastoise is water. So yes, Archie is the aqua one, so it was Maxie. I was right all along. Which I also totally didn't lose the first time, by the way, and had to level up my team a bit more, but after defeating him, we can make it into the Township of Lavridge. Looking ahead at Flannery's team, I don't think our team of Combuskin, Nuzleaf, Kirlia, Gulpin, and Zangoose will match up too well, even though I think they're all pretty cool Pokemon. So I decided to level up the team a little bit more and pick up a water type to fill out our roster. Unfortunately, we can't get any of the cool water types yet, like Crawdaunt or Whalmer, which is kind of funny because Hoenn is often made fun of for having a lot of water, so I settle for using a Tentacool and hope it's enough for Flannery. This battle against Flannery with our Tentacool was nice revenge because I had a recent video where I beat Pokemon Emerald using only green colored Pokemon in a hardcore Nuzlocke, and I spent a few hours just planning for Flannery and leveling up a lot of my Pokemon, since unfortunately a lot of green Pokemon are grass type, which are then weak to Flannery's Pokemon. So seeing Tentacool take out most of her team with relative ease until Shadow came in to knock out her final Pokemon was pretty nice. We then exit the gym and get the Go Goggles from May, which then allow us to go into the desert to get either one of the fossils. I decided to go with the Claw Fossil since I figured the Root Fossil wouldn't be as good for us since Cradily is a grass type and we already have a grass type in Nuzleaf, which I plan on using until the very end, and I hope to evolve it pretty soon, although I have no idea where to get a Leaf Stone just yet. I know I could probably just look up where to find a Leaf Stone in this game, but when I was a kid and I first played the Ruby version, I couldn't do that, so I'm gonna be stubborn and just not do that now. I then travel all the way back to Petalburg to challenge our father Norman in his normal type Pokemon gym, but he won't fight us just yet. Turns out that we actually do need to battle Brawly now, and we can't just save him until the very end like I originally wanted to, so I go all the way back to Dewford to challenge his fighting type Pokemon team with my normal type Pokemon Shadow. I know that his fighting type Pokemon will type Trump Shadow, but I wanted to assert our dominance here, especially since we're a much higher level than his Pokemon, and defeat him with a Zangoose. After defeating Brawly in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, I go all the way back to fight Norman. I rely on using Colonel the Combuskin for Norman to type trump him with some fighting type moves like Double Kick, although I seem to have miscalculated and lost our very first attempt since I was a bit underleveled. Double Kick did less damage than I wanted it to, and his Vigoroth was more of a threat than I wanted it to. I grinded the team a bit more here, and we see some evolutions where Gulpin evolves into Swalot, Tentacool evolves into Tentacruel, and Kirlia evolves into Gardevoir. The second attempt goes much better since I have Colonel for his Vigoroth, which I saved till the very end as it was causing me some trouble. I thought his 2 Slackings would be more of an issue, but since this isn't a Nuzlocke, I was able to shuffle in our other Pokemon that aren't as good for this fight to knock out and stall out the loafing around turns. And then against his Vigoroth, I had a few Pokemon left to knock it out and give us the victory. Not doing a Nuzlocke has made this a bit less stressful since I don't have the looming fear of potentially losing the run and having to basically restart this video all over again. Now that we have Surf though, we can go to my other favorite secret base location, which is in the water under Maulville City near the Cycling Road. There's a sign right outside of this little island that says Team Magma rules, which is pretty funny. and it's a pretty easy secret base to access. On my way there, we passed by Watson, who asked us to help him check out the new Mauville, which happens to be close to our new secret base, and I only did it for the Thunderbolt TM. I don't know why Mauville City doesn't have some sort of council or department to look after themselves and not have to ask a 10-year-old to go into their power plant, basically. But whatever. We can now head towards Four Trees City with that out of the way, and on the way we stop by the Weather Institute, which I always found a bit weird since it's a short task that is way easier than the other surrounding battles, like this next rival fight. To be honest, I really wasn't paying much attention during this rival fight since I had a Twitch stream up in my other monitor while I was playing, and I was just kind of mashing A when I thought Mei was talking, but it turns out the battle started and I was just going for some attacks. I end up knocking out her first Pokemon without even really paying attention, but we do get through her pretty easily, and you should also follow me on Twitch, by the way, which is linked in the description, since I've been streaming a lot more lately. This then leads us into Four Trees City, where we can meet Steven, who gives us the gift of sight so we can finally see these Kecleons blocking our way to get into Winona's flying type gym. I taught the Thunderbolt TM we just got from Watson to Gardevoir to help against Winona's gym, and Gardevoir also has Calm Mind, which could come in clutch to boost our Thunderbolts if we really need to. Gardevoir can even hit a couple of her Pokemon for 400% damage with Thunderbolt. Pistachio the Gardevoir really shines here up until her Altaria, which was her last Pokemon that knocked out Pistachio. Altaria did manage to get a couple of Dragon Dances off, which really scared me, and then she healed up. I tried to shuffle in my other Pokemon and hammer away at her for damage, and thought Shadow would win, however she heals at very low health. I then go into Stomach, which somehow lived a +2 Earthquake and get a Toxic off to poison it. A few turns later, all that's left is Combustion, and it's so low due to the toxic damage that it gets knocked out by a Quick Attack. With that, we now have 6 gym badges and are almost done beating Pokemon Ruby how I intended it, which is basically just to use Pokemon that I think are cool and show you some random secret bases that I liked when I was a kid. I then make the trek down to Lily Cove City, meet Team Magma, who are of course up to no good, and battle Mei in front of the department store. Pistachio the Gardevoir has Thunderbolt and Psychic, which has been one-shotting so many Pokemon lately and has definitely cemented Gardevoir as our best Pokemon right now. It's able to get through Mei's team in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, allowing us to now focus on Team Magma, which have a huge presence at this part of the game. I pick up the Giga Drain TM near Mount Pyre on our way to see Team Magma to give to Nuzleaf, and do all of these other smaller Team Magma tasks leading up to the Team Magma hideout in the water near Lily Cove. I never really realized this, but this hideout is slightly different than the Team Aqua hideout you would see in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire as well as Emerald version, but we do get the Master Ball here, which we can use later on. After defeating the Team Magma admin in here, we can surf along and go into Moss Deep City to fight Tate and Liza. I really don't like this gym battle, and I'm now realizing that I really don't like a lot of gym battles in this region. So I did cave and just looked up where to find a Leaf Stone to evolve Nuzleaf into Shiftry, since normally when I play through this region of the game, I like to use a Ludicolo, which you unfortunately can't normally get until after defeating Tate and Liza, which is just way too late in the game for a Pokemon that cool. I was able to see that we can find a Leaf Stone near the Weather Institute to evolve into Shiftry, and its Dark-type moves can type trump Tate and Liza's Psychic-type Pokemon, so after leveling up the team a little bit, I head in to fight them with our lead Pokemon being Shiftry and Tentacruel. In this game, they only have 2 Pokemon, being their Solrock and Lunatone, and aren't nearly as difficult as they are in Emerald version, so Shiftry is able to make this gym fight go by very quickly, largely thanks to Tentacruel Surf hitting both targets. We then have another Team Magma hideout to raid underwater, where they are going after Groudon. They foolishly use the blue orb, not the red orb, for the red legendary Pokemon Groudon, which just angers it and causes it to run away to Sootopolis City. This is the end of all of the Team Aqua and Team Magma shenanigans for now, so we can just focus on our true goal of becoming the champion like how I intended. On the way to Sootopolis City, I caught a Chinchou because I believe in Chinchou supremacy. Just look at this Pokemon, it's so awesome, and replaced Tentacruel on the team with it since it's also a part electric type, which we don't have yet. I named it Sushi because I was kind of hungry while playing this game and wanted to get sushi, which I might get get later to eat. Okay, update, I got this burrito instead. Once in Sootopolis City, we see the sun is glaring because of Groudon, so I make our way over to it and think of a plan to catch it. This plan is quite difficult because Groudon is a hard Pokemon to catch, and I really don't want to miss out on Groudon since it's quite strong. So what I decide to do is to just throw my Master Ball at it, and thankfully it works. Groudon is really cool, and I remember spending days trying to catch it as a kid since I wanted to save my Master Ball for as long as possible, since you only get one in the game normally. I ended up foolishly using my Master Ball as a kid on Ponyta back then though, since I wanted to complete the dex after beating the game, and it was the only Pokeball I had on me at the time. I still kind of regret that to this day, because I really should have known better. With our new Groudon that I named Bacon and our newly evolved Lantern though, I just head in to fight Wallace and his water/ice type Pokemon gym. I'm not really sure what type he is technically classified as, since I've heard people refer to him as a water type gym leader and an ice type gym leader. Maybe I'm getting him confused with Wand, but Sushi and Pistachio should do really well in this fight. His lead Lovedus gets so low that he switches into Whiscash, which counters our electric type moves, so I counter his counter and go into Sakura to knock it out with Giga Drains. Lantern then decimates his next few team members pretty easily until his Milotic comes in. I decide to go into Stomach the Swalot, which I've been barely using by the way, in order to toxic his Milotic so it can't spam recovers as effectively, as Milotic can be a really annoying Pokemon to battle against. I then go into Gardevoir and just spam Thunderbolts to stack with the toxic damage to outpace it and knock it out eventually. We now have all 8 Hoenn gym badges and have to make it over to Evergrande City to get to the Victory Road and the Elite Four in order to become the champion and beat Pokemon Ruby how I intended it. Before we go through Victory Road, I thought we'd recap the team a bit since I don't plan on changing it from what we have now until we challenge the Elite Four. First up, we have Pistachio the Gardevoir, the first Pokemon we ever caught, and our MVP because of how strong it is. Then our starter Pokemon, Colonel the Blaziken, which is also the same starter I picked when I first played through Ruby version as a kid. Our recently acquired Lantern named Sushi, Shadow the Zangoose, Sakura the Shiftry, and the legendary Pokemon Groudon, which we named Bacon. All of these Pokemon are either Pokemon I used when I first played through Ruby version as a kid, like Blaziken and Groudon, Pokemon I thought were really cool and wanted to use as a kid, like Gardevoir and Zangoose, Lantern, which is a Pokemon I've come to like a lot more recently, and its pre-evolution Chinchou was also one of the first Generation 2 Pokemon I ever learned about after getting one of those paper Pokemon coins they used to have in a chip bag as a kid that had a Chinchou on it, and then Shiftry. I don't really have anything much to say about Shiftry other than it's really only here because its types match up really well with the rest of our team, and I just like C-Dot, which is why I originally caught it in the first place. I made my way through Victory Road pretty easily though and faced Wally for one last time. I was able to knock out his lead Altaria with Colonel, and then on his Gardevoir I switched into Pistachio, our Gardevoir, to have an honor battle. We have Thunderbolt to hit it hard and get a critical hit on the second hit to knock it out pretty easily and win the honor battle. Blaziken then takes care of the rest of his team very easily, allowing us to finally take on the Elite Four. I stock up on some items and throw Colonel in the lead against the first Elite Four member, Sydney, and his Dark-type Pokemon team. To assert our dominance in the Elite Four, I speak to all the members from behind, so they have to turn to us in order to face us, and because Blaziken's 2 stab moves hit his whole team super effectively, this battle was much easier this time around versus when I first battled him as a kid and constantly had to save in front of him and reset until I finally won. For Phoebe, I use Shiftry since its Dark-type stab moves work wonders here, although it does end up falling to an Ice Beam from her Dusclops, so I had to stall a bit with Groudon so I could revive and heal up Shiftry to win the rest of the battle for us with feint attacks. For Glacia's Ice-type team, I lead with Pistachio and just tried to brute force our way with Psychics and potentially Thunderbolts for her part Water-type Pokemon, and it's able to take out her first 2 Pokemon, which were Glalie. On Celia though, I decided to just switch to Sushi to give it some more screen time and click Spark a few times, making this battle much easier and go by much faster than I thought it would be since I thought she'd be harder than the previous 2 opponents. Fourth up is Drake's infamous Dragon-type team, so I just decided to use Shadow and set up Swords Dances since I haven't really used in the Elite Four yet. His Shelgon goes for a couple of Rock Tombs to lower our accuracy while we're setting up, but a +6 attack Shadow is able to lay waste to everything on his team with slashes and quick attacks except for his final Pokemon, which was Salamence, So I go into Pistachio, which knocks it down to only 1 HP just to have his Salamence faint to a sandstorm that Drake himself set up earlier with his Flygon. All that's left now is the champion Steven. We unfortunately can't assert our dominance here by talking to him from behind like we've done with the other Elite Four members, since this game just automatically starts some dialogue when you enter the room and then starts the battle right away. I led with Colonel to take care of his lead Skarmory, then hit his Aggron for 400% damage with fighting type double kicks, and live an Earthquake with only 1 HP thanks to our plot armor to knock out his Metagross, which was his ace Pokemon. Our Maldo gets taken care of by Sushi, then Greydilly was a bit annoying because of its bulk and HP restoring moves, so I just revive up Blaziken to knock it out. All that's left now is Steven's Claydol of all Pokemon, which I just throw Pokemon in at to get chip damage before they end up falling. I really didn't expect Claydol to cause too many problems and be as strong as it was, but after stalling out all of Pistachio's PP on Psychic since it kept going for light screens, and exhausting all of Steven's heals finally with Shiftry, we're able to knock it out, meaning we beat Pokemon Ruby version how I intended. This was a lot of fun, much like the first video we did like this a while ago on beating Pokemon Fire Red how I intended it. I tried to use Pokemon I remember using as a kid when I first played through Ruby version, like Blaziken, Groudon, and Swalot, which we had on the team for a while, as well as Pokemon I remember really wanting to use after I beat the game like Gardevoir and Zangoose. I'm still bitter that I lost my original Pokemon Ruby game as a kid since I don't remember exactly what my Hall of Fame team was or what Pokemon I had in the PC, but luckily I did trade over some Pokemon from that game before losing it, and I still have some of those Pokemon in more modern games today. This includes my original Blaziken, which is pretty cool. Although we beat this game how I intended it, I think it shows that there isn't a right or wrong way to play Pokemon as long as you're enjoying it and having fun. Whether that means doing a casual playthrough like we just did in this video, a Nuzlocke challenge, or even some sort of hardcore challenge to make things even more difficult. I also think it's pretty fitting to upload this video today since today also happens to be my birthday, and although Pokemon Ruby isn't my personal favorite Pokemon game, and it wasn't even my first Pokemon game, the third generation as a whole is the generation of Pokemon I remember the most since I was a bit older when they came out. I've seen pretty much every episode of the third generation anime, and the 4 years that the third generation was the most current generation were the years that I was in that prime target audience for Pokemon, so they will always have that special bit of nostalgia for me. I still remember picking up Ruby version for the first time at Target and seeing it in the window, and then running home, playing the game, and picking my starter Torchic. And I even remember when I first beat Pokemon Ruby version while I was at a restaurant waiting to be seated of all places. It's funny how back then as a kid it took me, I want to say probably about a year to beat the game, and I was able to do it in this run in only a couple of days. That's enough rambling for now, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Consider leaving a like if you did and subscribing as well, especially since we just hit 100,000 subscribers. That's a huge milestone I couldn't have done without all of you guys watching this video, and I can't wait to finally get that cool YouTube plaque in a couple of weeks or probably months knowing YouTube. As cliche as it sounds, it's a milestone I didn't think we would hit, especially so soon, since less than a year ago I was under 20,000 subscribers and really thought that I would be stuck in that 20 to 30,000 subscriber range forever. But with all of that out of the way, I want to thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll see you all next time, and bye bye.